Now, many songs have been written about the First World War regarding bravery, heroism and the strength of character, but one that was written about the horror, fear and death that war naturally brings was written in 1978 by Scottish-Australian folk musician Eric Bogle, called The Green Fields of France, or No Man's Land as it is otherwise known. The song was then made famous by the Furies and has been covered by countless others. The song is about a gravestone of a young Irish Fusilier called Private William McBride, who fell at the Somme and was buried in the Athwil Military Cemetery in France. On the 1st of June 2017, the world commemorated the 101st anniversary of the Battle of the Somme, which was one of the most bloodiest battles ever fought. Just to put it into perspective, on a 15-mile front, the British and French forces dug in against the German advances, where over 1 million lives were lost. Now, when I started this episode, the whole point of it was to find out who William McBride was, where did he come from, and what sort of life did he have before he signed up. Now, he was born in County Armagh around 1897. Now, in the song, Private McBride is said to be 19, but a gravestone that has been identified by historians shows that he was actually 21 at the time of his death. It turns out that Eric Bogle said that he used artistic license so that the lyrics would at least rhyme. He also said that he even chose McBride's grave especially because the surname rhymed with the word graveside. Now, after attending school, William began an apprenticeship in the shoe trade, firstly in County Cavan and then in County Fermanagh. On the 18th of September 1914, royal assent was passed for the Third Home Rule Bill, meaning that there would be a self-government from within the United Kingdom, and naturally this incensed many Irishmen, including William McBride. In response, he and those many others joined the UFV, the Ulster Volunteer Force, to help protect his home, his family and his friends. However, as the war was raging, William, like hundreds of others, had to look past the trouble at home, and he enlisted in the 9th Battalion of the Royal Enniskillen Fusiliers. Later, the Fusiliers would join up with the 109th Brigade, 36th Ulster Division, who in October 1915 arrived in France. Now, in a cruel twist of fate, due to the war, the Home Rule Bill was suspended and never actually took full effect. However, it was later succeeded by a fourth bill in 1920, and this led to the border being created between Northern and Southern Ireland. Now, 6 months later, on the 22nd of April 1916, amongst the fighting somewhere in the Somme, but not actually part of the Battle of the Somme, Private McBride and his comrades were somewhere in the trenches while the German forces were pounding them with artillery fire. Now, according to the records, the weather that day was horrific, with driving heavy rain making visibility poor, and along with the rain brought flooding within some of the trenches. The reports also indicated that those trenches which were flooded were around waist deep. One of those shells that were fired by the German side would ultimately kill Private William McBride. Now, what might be viewed as one of the more saddest parts of the story, aside William's death, was that a few days afterwards, a number of letters arrived from his mother Lena, who at the time obviously didn't know about her son's death. Now, naturally we will never know, as per the lyrics of the song, if the drums beat slowly or if the pipes played the flowers of the forest as Private McBride was buried. However, looking at the numbers of soldiers who were killed, surely the interment would have been, quick, and the formalities would have been passed over. Now, some people may not know this about the song, but the Green Fields of France, by the time you get to the third and then all of the fourth verse, you can figure out that it's actually an anti-war song. I'm going to read out some of the lyrics from those lines. I'm going to actually go with the Dropkick Murphys version. It's the one that I've listened to more frequently, and I'm a fan of the band, so you'll have to excuse me this bias. But the lines go, "No gas, no barbed wire, no guns firing now. But here in this graveyard that's still no man's land, the countless white crosses in mute witness stand. To man's blind indifference to his fellow man, and a whole generation were butchered and damned." And I can't help but wonder, O William McBride, did all those who lie here know why they died? Did you really believe them when they told you the cause? Did you really believe that this war would end wars? Well, the suffering, the sorrow, the glory, the shame, the killing and dying, it was all done in vain. O William McBride, it all happened again, and again, and again, and again. Now, I'm sure those questions were asked well before Eric Bogle did back in 1978. And did all those men, Allied forces or otherwise, know the full and frank reasons on why they were fighting? Did they truly believe it was going to make the world a better place? World War I was indeed called the war to end all wars. And let's face it, after all the conflicts and battles that's happened prior and even that are happening now, the fighting, the weapons, the reasons, the justifications for war, they have got worse and worse. Now, another reason for Bogle's lyrics was to oppose the British government's attempts to pass the Home Rule Bill. Now, one thing that did raise my eyebrow when you read between the lines and you look a little bit deeper as to the stories is that even after all the fighting, the blood spill, loss of life from protecting and supporting the other nations to prevent oppositions from invading and occupying, no more than 2 years after the end of the war, the Home Rule Bill was still passed. And even then you have to ask the question, were any lessons even learned? So on that note, as it is the 101st anniversary of the Battle of the Somme and the fighting that happened at Passchendaele, I would like to dedicate this episode on behalf of myself and all the boys here at AFY to dedicate to all the soldiers who made the ultimate sacrifice and to all those who serve today. We thank you. So I'm going to sign off with the words that are engraved on Private William McBride's headstone that were given by his mother Lena. Hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. We're aiming to get more war stories done. If there's anything that you know of and you want it on the channel, all the details are on our page. You can get in touch with us or leave a comment. We are a fledgling channel, so we're all still new to this. So if there's anything that you think we could do better, or even if you actually want to commend us, drop us a comment, drop us a like, and even better, drop us a subscribe. It means a lot to us, and we hope to keep this going forward. In the meantime, I'm Biggie, and I'll see you there.